Hello, welcome back to Conversations, a podcast where you can speak your mind, speak freely without fear of judgment. Hoy tengo una invitación muy especial, un invitado. I've tried to get him on for a while. Since the upgrade, I thought it was the right time. I've got in Juan. That's right, bro. How you been?
I've been alright, man. I've been pretty blessed. I'm thankful I'm here, first and foremost.
Definitely.
Thank you for bringing me on board. I usually do the podcast. I don't usually attend them. This is a whole new experience.
So there is actually a reason that I brought you on. Well, a couple of reasons. I spoke to you recently about sort of the misinterpretation that I've got. Being fed into a world of, como le digo, like, I felt like I was being fed things that I believed at the time, but that now with time I've sort of seen you in a newer light. I've told you I've disliked you, and so I was going to be here, and I could see them from their point of view.
Yeah.
And I think I let that affect my judgment.
Right, okay.
And I sort of spoke to you recently and I apologised because it wasn't fair on you. I don't think it's fair on anyone being judged prematurely, number one.
100%.
Number two, like, people chatting shit and I'm just there, like, listening.
Yeah, but you know what? It's funny. I was aware, like, it was almost like I was aware, but at the same time I wasn't aware. I know, like, whatever you do, whenever you walk out of your house, at some point you're not gonna get along with somebody, or mejor dicho, alguien might have an opinion of you, and they might not exactly respect it. But I never, like, I tend to carry myself very differently. It tends to be like how I see someone. I'm very self-conscious, so if I'm seeing this person in a negative way, this person is a negative. I'm seeing and I'm treating like that. If I pretend you're me, for example, and I'm like, right, I'm pissed off at you. Hold on, really and truly, I can only control how I react. Yeah, so knowing that means I'm pissed off at myself. Yeah, like the world is very reflective. That's my point of view. So I was just like, what?
See, for me, I think you know what, fuck, I'm going to say names because I don't care and it's judgment. When I was close to Luch.
Okay, yeah.
And I could see, like, things going on, but, like...
Right.
That sort of affected me, number one.
Right.
Because I had a lot of people coming up to me being like, Juan, are you going to allow this to happen? Like, I was very new to the scene.
Okay.
And getting people coming and being like, Juan, are you going to let this happen? Juan, are you not going to repost? Juan, is this what you're doing? You're just ignoring shit. And from there I was like, what the fuck do I do? Like, I'm just one person. Do I hate the one person because people are telling me to hate them? Do I like them for me? What do I do? If I don't like you, then am I gonna be like by everyone else?
Yeah.
So that was the sort of impact that I had.
Okay. I mean, no, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's a lot because we never really met in person. The only time we sort of met in person was in a few events and one time in Latino Life in the Park.
Yeah.
The first year I filmed it. I remember that. Yeah. And it's just very brief encounters.
100%. So I had no reason to dislike you. It was just that one moment that people start chatting shit. It's like, I can see it, but like, it was just more of like the ego thing that I could see. Más que todo.
If anything, I could admit more than anything, like, my ego got hit. Heavy to the point where I pretty much just went on the fence and defensive mode, but mostly was because like my ego is based on my work. I don't know. Like if I feel like I read this and I was like, this could be true, you know, started less things about myself. It's like apparently I seek validation from others, but through my work. If it helps others, then I feel good about it. That was the case of what was going on at the time period, because I made Misala just to open up to the scenario. For now, like I even spoke about this on a recent thing, but I did say, like, reflecting on how everything went down, I can't change anything that I've done. But at the same time, I don't think I would, because I was defending my work, everything. And what ended up happening, like behind closed doors, was that to keep it very brief, like I might prove my ignorance. I didn't do proper business practices. I'm going to take responsibility for that. I didn't do proper business practices in order to execute a music video that was for someone for that label, which was Angelo Flo, which was the second song, Hot Stepper. Luciano was the one who hired me.
Yeah.
And miscommunication happened. Eventually, I done a lot of post-production, which I never got compensated for. And I just felt very upset. Not solely because of business, because are we real? Fuck business, capitalism, all of that stuff. But it's really and truly because the way I was seeing the world at that current time, I was discovering what it meant to be Latino, Colombian even, because I'm kind of more raised here in a bit more Western ideology. So I started to find my identity. So para mí, un parcero, alguien de nuestro país, even just the region, it felt like it was us against the world. Whenever someone from our own kind of generation or race or however you want to call it, kind of just betrays the whole meaning of like, we're surviving on an island we don't even own. Or land we don't own. It just felt like, what are you doing? You don't understand that, like, you know, we're in the shit. Like, as much as we may kind of think we're okay, then was beneficios, all this stuff, it gets political. I really didn't appreciate the tone of like, I'm not here to, like, why would I betray a fellow Latin person when we're struggling here? Especially in the current times, it's even gone like that. Even emphasizes it even more. Yeah. That was my take on it. Yeah. I was in it. I was, you learn from these things. You realize, oh, okay, I get it. There's people who know how certain businesses will be doing if you're not there to teach, then it's kind of gatekeeperish. But that was really my main, like, issue with the whole thing. I only started attacking when the music video actually got done. And it wasn't through me, but I saw a few things and I was like, this is not fair. But that's about it. Yeah.
But I think it was very early on though, like everything was happening.
Super early.
Like it was COVID times and people were attacking each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I've got a reputation of opening my mouth. I'll be honest. Like the person I had issues before was like DJ Chris, but that was just over. Like, something minor. I mean, it wouldn't be silly. It's like I did a job I didn't get paid for.
Yeah.
What was that? But because we don't do contracts, because we don't practice business of how it should be done. Aquí, for example, it gets hard.
100%. 100%. And I think the issue that I had with Luciano when everything sort of came out, that was like 2 years ago?
3 years ago.
Last year.
It was last year?
That happened. That things got released into the public.
Oh, is this when Latino Baby?
Yeah.
Okay.
So something that I wished... Like, I thought about it, but because I didn't know much about the business area, I didn't really think too much of it, but I did think about, okay, are we going to have a contract or not? Because Luch offered me management.
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, just pay me whenever you can.
So you were basically getting in business with Luch and stuff?
Yes and no. So with Luch, for example, I want to be your manager, I want to take you far. I was like, okay, cool. He was well known. And then ND siempre me lo vio escribir saying, I've got you into an event with Spotify. Alarm bells didn't ring because I was like, it's Luch, he knows people, whatever. But then he went quiet.
Yeah, sounds rough. Yeah.
There was no contract.
Yeah, so you could just...
Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. He lied about this. Let me just carry on playing whatever. It wasn't too much. It was like 400 quid. Yeah. And then he went quiet. Then he messaged me again and was like, hey, Juan, how are you? That's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I've got a few... What was it? I've got a few sponsors for you. I'm talking to and some guests. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I'm going to carry on doing my own thing. It gets to when Latino Baby, and I was like, okay, so this isn't just happening to me. And at this point, I sort of knew he had scammed me, but I didn't say anything. I just didn't react. I just carried on and kept quiet. And when Latino Baby did the video, I was like, you know what? Let me just little comment, and he messaged me right away.
That's because he was watching who was...
Within about 30 seconds of me, he messaged me, oh, Juan, I'm sorry you feel like this. My mental health has been all over the place. At that point, I got pissed off. And it wasn't so much that he messaged me, it was that he said mental health. Because mental health doesn't stop you from messaging someone saying, Juan, I'm going to take a step back a second because my mental health is all over the place. From January to May, June, when Latino Baby released, he hadn't messaged me whatsoever. So then I was like, okay. And then I was like, you know what? Keep it 400 because we didn't have a contract.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. He offered to pay back. Pero muy difícil de que me pagara. She was fine for the first 3 payments. And then the last payment, se demoró. And I had to attack him. I had to perseguirlo para que me volviera plata. And at the end he paid. I've blocked him on pretty much everything. I've unfollowed him.
He sort of disappeared. I'm blocked people away on this stuff. But I think after the Latino Baby incident got exposed, I know definitely me and Patrick, we kind of went in as well. I think a lot of people kind of reacted as well because it was time. Enough was enough. Like, this guy had been pretty much scamming the Latin community, the musician side, the music industry side of things for a very long time. I almost was going to document it. I almost was going to collect all the information because I was really upset in general because I don't want to put a price on how much money was taken, but I would say it would go up in the thousands. 20 to 40K, I would say at least.
See, I was speaking to a friend about this because she got scammed as well and she was going to take him to court because it was that bad.
Yeah.
And we sort of said he's paying the festivals with the money that he's getting from us. It might have not been like a lot of it, but like a big proportion of what he was taking from us could have been going into the festivals, and we don't know what he's paying, like stages, what he's paying artists.
Oh man, oh boy, well, I don't know how much I'm allowed to tell you. I know too much information, right?
Yeah.
Let's just go with, for the sake of just protecting the integrity of this journalistic conversation.
Yeah.
Let's go with the fact that, okay, let's go with this is conjecture,
Yes.
this is speculation, because I can't prove this entirely.
Yes.
Because, yes, the festival is sort of involved, but there is so much history. And this is why I say it's so important to document this stuff. Now, that's why I'm trying to change the mentality.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on. The music industry doesn't work because we don't know what musicians are up to. We don't know the deals that's been going on.
100%.
All of this journalism is so needed. But, we don't do the same errors again, first of all, as a community. And so we can actually actually market ourselves better, but also we can finance ourselves better. It just makes sense, right? I know you understand this. I know the community is sorry, porque lo venimos de un cultura is very shame. So it's like if anyone be like, oh, I know this about someone, be like, no, dime chisme, but shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Don't tell me nothing because that's just news and stuff. But anyways. Okay, I'm going to make sure I'm not going to say anything that's like death of defamatory. Let's go with a make-believe situation. Let's go with a nation of people have come into a country and obviously it's established within a country. We don't exactly have a space, but we do have a couple regions. Let's call one place Elephant, the other one at 7. Yeah. To digress. Obviously festivals have been going on because the government has been crowdfunding to help community awareness and help it out. Now, people who understand this game and understand the intricacies of the policies that in order to get this money, it's all about money at the end of the day.
It is.
And the government needs to be able to tax things and be able to kind of just get rid of things underneath the rug. Now, there are people who understood this system, who come from our community, or got involved with English people who understand it, or even may have gotten married or two. Just leave it there up in the air. So they understand how this system works. So in order to get the funding for the festivals, you need to do the applications or whatnot, be well connected. Now, they were having money, like, let's just go for the one festival that he is involved with, right? There were several things happening. Obviously, Latino Life has got their own entity. They've got their award show. They've got all of these different things, the magazine, all that stuff. So that was separate to what they were doing with the festival. And with the music, the music label actually started off from an idea from an actual artist. I'm not going to name which artist, but I'm pretty sure y'all can find out he's the OG within like the Latino music scene. He originally was working with another person who was in charge of the festival. Right. And the idea of creating a label came from that. He eventually got pushed out and then enters Luch. And then Luciano, I think, was the connection between Atlantic Records and obviously the other person is the connection for the festivals. Now, Atlantic Records gave them a deal. I can't exactly say what the deal was. All I know, if from conjecture, is that they would at least get 20 bags or 20 grand each artist they would sign. So they wanted to sign 3 artists, Angela, Flo, Guala, and I think one of them was going to be a girl, Spanish girl. After 2 years, what did you see happen? We only saw one artist really get picked, because the first time we went to the festival was the time I saw you.
Yeah.
That's where they announced the artist. Now, at that time period, Candela was just about getting announced as a label, all that stuff.
I remember that, yeah.
So they were starting the music, because the videos and releasing and, pushing. Obviously, a lot of questions became arise because, again, 2 entities, one being the music label, the other being the festival.
Mm-hmm.
The festival was already having its own situations happening within the community, which was, I think the issue was something about the stalls being charged extortionate prices, even though they've been being funded. Mm-hmm. Like, if a government funds you, that's to fund the festival.
Yeah.
That is not for you to put the money in your pocket and then charge, like, the community crazy prices for you to have a food store and you're not even going to break even. How is that helping people? So that was the main issue, and that's why I love How I Know so much. And I believe that's why a lot of the food vendors, as the years have gone by, they've actually not been attending anymore. They want to do their own thing because it's just been mismanaged. Or let's just go with, it's not fair. Simple as that. The festival, or the company also received an MPO, I believe, and that's like a really big grant for like arts and creatives because they're a charity, essentially what they're doing. So a lot of ins and outs, interweaving, especially the moving around with the money. And that's why at first I was pissed off, and now on a bigger kind of perspective, because I'm not mad anymore, is I get it, you're playing the system. You have to play the game. My only issue about that is like, if we're going to do that, let's not capitalize on our own people. I'm a bit more of like, all right, like we almost stay this place because it's going to get crazy. We're just going to do the same game that's been given to us.
Yeah.
But through classism. And I'm not going to call it a race thing because I think race is kind of the distraction because it's really a class issue.
Yeah, I think the thing that really set me off more than anything, and it wasn't even an issue at the beginning, but once people started explaining it to me, I sort of started to get it. So when it was in Finsbury Park, there was no payment to get in.
Free entry.
It was free entry. The next year, I think it was free entry as well.
Free entry.
And then from there, it was payments.
And they moved
to Ealing.
To Ealing. Now, I've got a theory of why that happened.
Yeah.
And because I haven't confirmed this at all, but it's sort of starting to make sense because you put things on the timeline. They had 2 festivals in Finsbury Park that did really well.
Yeah.
Right? But it was free. I think on the second year, they received their MPO, which is that big amount of money. Right, but at the same time, there's always been rumors about certain people not getting paid, like artists and whatnot, blah blah.
I have had this
going, On the other side, I see Luch taking holidays because you see me taking holidays, and I don't think the festival. I don't think he's involved in the festival. He hasn't got that much
power.
They did give him a stage because Candela and Latino Life are technically both in the same company. It's just an extension company.
Yeah.
So they did have a stage of the first year, and the second year, I believe it just got combined into one, and then so forth on the third. I think what ended up happening is, and this is my belief, I think what ended up happening in regards to the Finsbury Park, I think the council up there, I don't even know what council that one is.
That would be, I think it's part of Hackney.
So let's go with Hackney Council. I think what they did, I think they must have seen the numbers in regards to, all right, where's our funding going? Why is this not adding up? And I think that's why they took away the access of having the park access there. They knew something was up. So they ended up moving to another council, which is all the way in Ealing. And then recently I had attending like about 3 months ago that they had like, I don't know if you saw, but Joga had a reunion kind of discussion.
I was going to go to that if I didn't have to go work. I heard about it through a mutual person. I heard it wasn't great.
Yeah, I definitely posted about it too, so I don't know.
I heard that the explanations to certain questions weren't great.
It was very politically avoidant. And it didn't benefit anything. People thought people were like, someone was going to get up and have a go at them. People thought I was going to do that. But I always had the issue because I was like, oh, there's a mayor here in this meeting. And I wasn't going to just represent Latinidad in an aggressive way. So I was like, I'm going to shut the hell up because I think I see what's going on here, which is because Jose Luis came as a panelist. And I was like, you never make any public appearances. Why is this so important to you? I tried to piece 2 and 2 together, and I thought maybe he's just trying to get in contact with the mayor of Harrogate in order to get a new space to facilitate a festival. That makes sense to me. But these are conjectures.
Yeah, I get that. Moving on to positive notes.
Yeah.
I posted about you beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And I sort of said, you inspired me to try and do something, which I haven't really gone for yet, which was to get the... La triste realidad es que the Latin community is very segregated, that's the word. Porque músicos como músicos, production with production, anything to do with music is like on one side. Food vendors are on another
side, yeah. It's a mess.
Yeah, and what we should be doing is coming together.
Yeah. I've got one fun fact for you.
Yes.
One fun fact, but I still need to do a lot of research because as you know, I was doing the documentary.
Yeah.
Upon doing the documentary, because it's come on, how did we end up here?
Yeah.
And how did it come to this? Because you look at other communities, you got an Indian community stuck together. You got two in Broadway, Jamaican with the Brixton, Caribbean. You actually got a Jewish community up north, I believe. But you can see
Stamford Hill.
Your girl, because I'm still doing the research, right? Because like I'm starting to talk to elder people, and I'm like, how is it like in here? I'm like, well, give me a reason why we are separated, because I see a lot of other communities like that. And given that at the time I actually put into this, I think the documentary after is about that, the reason why Elephant and Castle and Seven Sisters is kind of our only home base. Yeah. But it really isn't, because we don't have owned buildings, for example, or areas that's just dedicated for that kind of community. It was kind of done on purpose. Like, I'm taking it way back. I'm saying, like, right, if I was even a prime minister or someone who owned land, and obviously a lot of migration is happening, I don't want to lose fully control of the country. Yeah. And I think as Latinos, we kind of came in late to this race, because you already had the Windrush beforehand. You had a lot of several communities already colonizados, Británicos, so they already had to, they have to pay their dues, and fine, we'll give you two, and we'll give you this, we'll give you that, because we need to make sure everyone's happy. I think Latinos were the last ones in this. Yeah. And that's why it's like, we're going to put you here, we're going to put you here, but you guys cannot contribute properly, because otherwise this is going to become an issue. I get that point of view. Yeah. And that's always been a thing, but I don't think we should be upset over it. I think we just need to work with the parameters that's kind of been given to us. Or I would definitely say fight for the right of having a space, Elephant Castle, Seven Sisters, which we're doing, but a la mi mama is due to privatization of land. It's getting bought out by Asian countries. Like, England isn't even owned by England anymore at this point, and that's why things are expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah.
O sea, a mí no me gusta es, and unfortunately it comes back to this, is there's, in the Latin community, there's a lot of ego as well. So people, I get you're looking out for number one, and that's great, and you have to look out for number one. And I've been guilty of this as well, but there's other people in the community that, they need your support, they need your help. And if you're not willing to help them, then they're going to be like, why the fuck am I going for my dreams? Why should I even do this if no one's willing to help me?
100%.
And I was a big part of that. Okay. I was a huge part of that, because I was like, I can do this myself. I don't need help. That was just the way I was brought up, by the way. But seeing things through a different light now, and this is why I do my posts on Instagram, the El Día de la Madre, El Día de la Mujer, El Día del Hombre, and I post different businesses, is porque yo nunca tuve ese apoyo. Like, years ago when I was in primary school, when I had a dream, no one would support it. They'd be like, you can do it, but like, I couldn't. Now, I feel like I'm being supported a lot more, but I'm supporting them a million times harder, because I'm going, you know what, you do it. You can do it if you believe enough in yourself.
100%.
If you need me, message me, I'll help you out. Before I wouldn't have done that, because I would have been like, if I can do it, why can't you? Like,
give them the tools, but don't take them through the door. They gotta go through the door. I always say that. I always say, I can only show you the door. I'm not gonna, like, you need to take those steps through it. That's how I always tell people, because in the past, I've had a lot of people come to me asking me to do the same type of stuff, and I'm like, I will show you, But I know me, I was the same guy that you was. You know what I mean? Asking for that. It's not like asking for a handout. Ask me for information. That's completely fine, because there are people who are going to gatekeep, there are people who are not going to gatekeep.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's really up to you whether you decide to
walk through the door.
Walk through the door or not. And it's going to be shit. And that's the thing. But it's good because you learn. Mistakes need to happen in order to...
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm here for it, but I love the chaos. I'll be honest, but it's just for the learning. Yeah, for the learning experience. It's not done on purpose. It's just like, well, what can I gain from this, instead of thinking it as always as a loss.
Oh, fair enough. I never thought of it that way, because I've always... So with life coaching, for example, I've given them examples of, okay, this is the way I've done it. I don't say necessarily this is what you have to do, but I'll go, this is the way I've done it and it's worked for me. These are the tools that I've learned and I've used. And they'll go, okay, maybe I'll do that. And for me, that works in the sense of, we'll go, Juan, I tried it and it worked. And I'm like, okay, cool. But what did you learn from it? And I'll be like, not much, just that I can do it. But that's learning a lot, because we're learning a skill, number one, and you're learning that you can actually do it.
The fun part is after is when you learn your shortcuts. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, right, I know how to do this here, but how do I make this quicker, more efficient? But you isn't that... I think that's what Bill Gates wanted, isn't it? He didn't want to hire regular people because he wanted to hire the guy who did the shortcut. But he's lazy, but he's brilliant because he's just done it twice as faster without less complication. Yeah. Disruptors. I prefer that. Like, that's what it is. Like,
Yeah.
But I think my main issue has always been, you know, we've always had to keep ourselves up to professionalism, which is completely fine. But alguna veces un toque humanidad, a bit humanistic side of it is welcome, because like, we're doing stuff we weren't exactly taught in school and trained for. You know,
I think I've said this before. I think school is the biggest load of shit.
Yeah, it's horrible. It just feeds the machine.
It teaches you to be an employee, not an employer.
There you go.
And that's what I've always said. I'm grateful I went to school and I've learned the tools, but I would have preferred to learn how to be that leader rather than the follower.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you know, so after school it's kind of just and then it's like, oh, now you have to learn.
Yeah, but o sea, no sé con las otras familias outside of the Latin community, pero in the Latin community, por ejemplo, their parents are ruthless and they'll go, o trabaja o estudia, one or the other, but you've got to do one. You're not going to be lazying about.
100%.
I chose uni because I was lazy. I just didn't like uni.
What did you pick? Admin, which is very, actually, you know what? Give you kudos to that, because administrative is everything.
It's every section.
It's
everything.
Yeah, and I'm one for, I hate words on pages. I'm not a reader, I'm a very visual person. Sometimes I have to force myself to read and stuff, and I'm like, you know what? Administration, especially if you ever go to Colombia, that's what it's all about, really and truly. Los papeles, todo. It's a messy situation. I have a relationship with writing, because it's like you go into the past and we were man caves or whatever, like soldiers or Vikings back in the day. They used to call it spells, because this is why I have a very sensitive issue with history.
Okay.
For example, it's como decir, just because someone's written something, they have credibility. That's their version and perspective or something, right? So say, for example, if I told you, oh, one time I found a sheep that was black in 1984, you don't believe that. Without questioning it, just because it's old and, you know, there's nothing else you can prove otherwise. And that's why I'm like, history is scary. Writing is scary. Yeah. Because, you know, I understand fiction, but then if you try to make it into a factual thing, it can really do something here. And it does a lot to people here. Gente en otro país, people in China, different ideology just because of their histories and stuff. So it's really scary. It's like, whatever you feed yourself, be aware of what you're feeding yourself and question it either way, because you need to, you know, nothing's really saying facts.
Yes, I don't read.
Me too.
I don't like reading. I've got dyslexia, so it's a little bit more difficult. I struggle to understand what I'm reading.
I see.
Pero me gusta escribir.
Oh, no.
I love writing. I think I said to you, the next book that I want to write, I want to make it in the sense of getting various people. So no solo músicos, but like production, like gente de restaurantes, gente que tiene peluquerías. Sort of like a directory, pero with people's stories.
It's definitely needed as well. Oh, sorry. I would say like documenting your life is the most important thing you can do. Because those momentos se pasan y son de gone, they're gone. You can't, like, memory is not the most secure thing you can ever have.
You can lose it.
That'll go.
Alzheimer's, dementia, all of
Literally.
that.
Literally, I've had my memory lost at one point. I remember that, and that was very scary. So yeah, no. Ever since then, I always feel like documentation is important, is key, especially for a community. Yeah, especially for a community. Like, the more we get to know each other's moving, like whereabouts and moving, without envy, jealousy, all of that stuff, put our egos down. Obviously, it becomes more beneficial as a community because it's like, you know what? Jorge tiene pollos. I've got flour. Let me trade off, like barter. Doesn't really have to be always money. And then we can help each other out. Now his family's got flour. I've got eggs. That was back in the day. Yeah. So it takes time to practice those things.
It does.
Yeah. But again, I think it's always down to geographics. Where, you know, an elephant road. Eso es entre ellos mismos. We have to go there to shop or whatever. But it's those regular conversations that keeps us intact with communication. I think that's how things develop, if we can. But we need to get political too.
I think we just need to improve being more of a community. And I think something that Karen said, Karen Tatiana, I've always sort of kept it in my head and I absolutely love it. And it's that we should be more like the Jewish community.
Yeah.
In the sense of, o sea, si estoy a la comunidad de judíos, they don't go to normal hospitals. They go to their own hospitals, their own doctors. They'll go to their shops and they support each other.
Yeah.
And I think que eso es lo que nos falta a nosotros.
Bueno, sí. To double down on the point that you're making, if you compare, for example, the Jewish community, because I did speak to my friend about this recently. She wasn't having a go at the Jewish community.
Yeah.
She was just like, how is it that they're such in a good position? Like, Jewish people are in a good position. And not saying in England only, but just in certain parts of the world, they own land and all that stuff. And I always look back at history because they come from one of the oldest kind of religions on earth. So the morality and that has always inclinado. While if you compare it to Latin history, I don't even like calling it Latin because it means Roman owned. I actually hate Latino. I hate anything that I hate saying it, but I have to use it for marketing purposes. Pero para mí, Latino means you're owned by the Romans. Hispanic means you're owned by Spanish. Colombia means you're owned by Christopher Columbus. It all has, and labels limit the way you see yourself and the way other people see you. So I always just say I'm Amazonian. Sometimes I'm like, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
For the time being, because I remember questioning someone Latin. I was like, who named your race? And then they just kind of stunned and stopped. And now, hold on. And I was like, it's because Anglo-Saxon history has been put into us, and we don't know better. And we don't have a record of history. Not only have we been given a religion that isn't really true to our essence from our actual land, the Spaniards came and colonized us, and we've sort of accepted it. We've accepted a new language, so we lost our older languages from different regions as well. So that caused a lot of confusion of identity. You know, being Latino isn't also just being mestizo. It means black, white, anything at this point, which is a beautiful thing because we are very multicultural now.
We are.
But due to that, it has caused a lot of confusion, racial kind of separation. I know that 100%. But there's also a lot of beautiful culture that came out of it because it's a nice cocktail. But due to that, we didn't get to have the same strong foundations as someone like a Jewish community would, or even other communities. We came from slavery at the end of the day. And I always say we're at least 40 years behind the black community, the African community, because you can see la diferencia entre los minorities and how the African community, how they have kind of grown in Africa, but also al otro lado del mundo in the States where the majority of them have basically populated. So I say the same thing with the Latinos. The Mexicans had the same issue. And now they're sort of finding identity, but they also adjusted as an American and a Mexican financially. Yeah. So go back to your point, no. It'll be really hard to kind of move like the Jewish because you have to kind of learn to unlearn, which is it's a weird saying. My guy taught me that one, and then another guy taught me this one. I was like, yo, speaking some truth where it's like, I forget everything that you learned and let's relearn what we know now and see how we can do this together. But because there's a lot of different ideology, you got race and you got religion involved, and now you got geographics, which is South Americans don't think the same as South Americans aquí. So you can kind of see where it's like, it's a lot of work.
It is.
And it might be a bit of activism too. So it's a struggle. But
it is.
I think we'll find our way. But me personally, I feel like the best way to really come to arms, and I'm saying it in that sort of formal manner, is just that there needs to be we need to have a Malcolm X in our own way, or anyone who's like a political activist who isn't afraid to say things for how they were, in the risk of getting killed, because that's what happens. It happens to everyone who's an activist. If you say stuff that the government doesn't want you to say to give you rights, they will kill you. It is, or someone from a different organization will. It just happens, but I feel like that's what is needed if we want to have more rights, especially in this country. If we're just going to specifically talk about this country, we need the right to just have a bit of land, a building, a community center, todas estas cosas. So as much as it's good to say we're coming together, we actually do need politics involved. Like, alguien que nos representa ahí in the House of Commons. Probably not me, I'm too tired up, but that's like the general direction you have to take, especially if you're in a different country, or even in our own country, to be honest.
Yeah.
Politics.
It is. I hate politics.
Me too. I didn't like politics. I ignored it for the majority of my life. When you start looking at history books and stuff, just history videos, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but so, cuando uno mira la política de nuestro país, it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest. It's not great. It's not the best. But you start looking into it and you start speaking about it, even that can get you killed.
Yeah, it becomes a very sensitive topic, like ridiculous. Especially if you're in South America, you start talking. If you do it here, it's not too.
It's not too bad until you go there.
Until you go there. But then that's why I was like, you should talk about it here.
Yeah.
Talk about it here, because if you talk about because there is a separación, the activists are doing activist work here, putting memorials and stuff like las cosas que está pasando en Colombia.
Yeah.
Obviously, not everyone's like, well, what's going on?
Although I was listening to Gregorio Pernilla last night, I was watching an interview with him and the Nueva Conera, and something that he said really hit hard. And he was like, I don't go for a political party. I don't go for who I'm close with. I go for the idea. And yes, some of them might not work. Some of them might work. Some of them do work. But it's the idea behind their campaign. So, because they're competitors, they're Uribe, so you can't just throw his name out there, even though he's dead for many years now. Pablo Escobar, I wouldn't go for who I like the most. I'll go for
the right ideology.
The right ideology and the right campaign.
100%. I don't even know. Like, I know who's down there, but it's like, I don't know what they stand for and mean. Like, it is a lot. It is a lot to take in historically wise, but if you're a good person, I think that's the point. That you just have to do the right thing for the people.
Yes,
and yourself.
Our government isn't a good person.
Our government, if I'm not mistaken, I think our government is still underneath the American boot. If we've been right wing for a very long time, as far as I'm fully aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just like, it's bloody weird politics. It's like, why can't we just do the right thing for our people? But again, that's history because we've always had Western getting involved.
When people, I'm not saying Colombians, I'm saying other people go, but your policemen, your government is so corrupt. My thinking is, yes, it might be, pero so is yours. I think all government is corrupt. And I think the only one that I can really stand for, my God, which is el de Salvador.
Salvador.
I think so. Bachelet? No.
Oh, you mean the new guy?
Yeah. And I think what he's doing is amazing.
I had some things about it, so I was like, I realized that a lot of people are either here or here. But I'm just like, I don't know what's going on.
Because I was watching a story where all the criminals are in jail.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you did, it doesn't matter, you know, what gang you're in. You're all in one jail.
Yeah, if you're a gang affiliated, they put you in one place.
And what he's done is, he said, if you're going to kill yourselves, go fucking do it, I don't care. And then the inmates were like, all right, let's take a step back. Because if we're all going to fight and kill each other,
what's the point?
What's the point? What's that going to do for us? So he sort of minimized the violence that way and been like a great president for that country.
It's low key though. It's quite dictatorish, but just borderline. Because I know there's a lot more under deals under the table between him. Because he's not a really. Well, it really depends on what side of media you're on. But obviously, you're going to see some positive things like, right, that's good, put all the criminals in one place. But then I see you're doing a side deal with USA to either use those men as labor or also use your facilities to imprisonate convicts from the States and get money out of it. So it's like, you're turning your country into like a prison state situation scenario. There's a lot going on. I don't know what he's doing because at the end of the day, you know, putting yourself in a position where you're in charge of a lot of people's lives is it's hard. It's hard, and I don't even think it's meant for human beings.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that position. Like, you feel like you have to be doing the right thing, but you don't know how many lives you're actually really ruining. It could be one, you know, I don't know. It's almost like crime. I used to see a lot of crime as the most horrible thing you can do. But then you always have scenarios where people are put in a place in a system where it is against them. So they have no choice but to scrap for food. They have no choice but to sell things. They don't really want to celebrate other people's lives in order to make their own. So there is it's a double-edged sword. Because it's like, aquí mejor la pobreza, la gente. And then maybe crime will be less in general. Like, maybe people won't be selling those things or killing each other. But because we live in that system of money, the world is run by money, unfortunately.
See, the way I see it is, if you want something bad enough, you will go get it. It doesn't matter the situation you're in, it doesn't matter sort of what excuses you have, you will go get it somehow. And yo lo he visto en Colombia especialmente, where I've seen poor people, like in la calle trabajando, matando. But they're not going out for drugs, they're literally like walking miles a pie limpio con papas or vendiendo limones or bombones. And then there's people here que, you know what, fuck it. I work in Stoke Newington and a lot of the homeless in my area, they have houses, they have mansions, and they're still begging out for food. But they're also buying drugs, they're getting drunk on a daily basis. They're putting their lives in danger just because they don't want to work. And that's something that I feel is very sad to say. Yes, in Colombia hay gente que compra drogas, I'm not saying there's not, pero por lo que yo he visto, they prefer you to buy them a slice of pizza, una empanada, un buñuelo, que le den plata. Here, if you give someone a sandwich, they'll be like, what's that? I don't want that, I want money.
Yeah. So I can go use it.
Yeah. Or if you do that by like a baby milk for them, they'll trade it in for drugs, from what I've been told. So, hay como una tristeza entre países.
Yeah.
But then, los de aquí no quieren trabajar, los de Colombia.
Oh, here you got more benefits, don't you? You got a little bit more of a help-ish, don't get me wrong. But I do feel like sometimes those people who came or just became, like, they're living on the streets, they formerly might have had jobs before and then they might have leaned way too into their vices, and eventually that took over their lives. I mean, can't generalize.
Yeah.
I don't know everybody's life story, but it's la vida is going to give you access to everything, and you decide which one you decide to consume.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, man. It's like some people's problems might be women, some people's problem might be drugs, some people's problems might be alcohol or overworking or just not even leaving the house. Depression, they might be addicted to that, self-harming, or you name it. And Yeah, life is a very funny little video game experience if you think about it. Like, I always tell people, I'm like, hey, look, you see, if you go out that road right there, and you see that person over there,
Yeah.
talk to them, all of a sudden my story has changed, and now I know someone. It's just because the options are everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's a universe where I talk to this person, there's a universe I don't. I decide to jump into that perspective or not. And then that might end up, I don't know, I don't want to make it sound like I'm benefiting from it. Like I made a friend, or even that friend might even provide you a big time job that I was like, oh, I didn't know, just because I had a conversation, we connected as humans. The world is very interesting. Like, as soon as you realize you're in charge of it, you're just like, oh, cool.
You know what I realized though? Like, I was going to work and I wasn't on the train, but I was going past people going down the train station. I was like, one of those people could be depressed. They could be a psychopath. They could be a criminal.
For anything. $100%.
And it could just be like a normal day, and from one thing to another, it could change like that.
See,
and I was like, shit.
Yeah,
That's a bit deep.
Yeah, no, I'm all about that, man. I always take every day as a when I was on it and be like, okay. I used to think about it so deeply. Like, how come just like you put a lot of rules and parameters in your life, and then sometimes you're not happy anymore. So I've let loose before, man. Like, best believe after what happened, that whole thing 2 years ago, it took me 2 years to even recover from that, mentally, physically, and now I'm in an okay position. But even then, I don't even like being seen online in public, even though I post a lot. Still a learning curve. Like, I don't want anyone to know me properly anymore because of what happened. For example, it's like, I don't want to let y'all in, but I will do my community service. Yeah. That's slowly breaking those barriers, because now it's like, the world is your oyster.
Oh, 100%.
Whoever hates, let them hate. Yeah.
Right, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. I'm definitely going to get Juan Take back on. Juan Beroja. Go support him. He's got a new page out with Victor Rios.
Yeah, dude. Hey, oh god, let me say all my social shout out. If you want to add me, I am in Juan Take on Instagram. Well, I also run the page. What page do I run now? Viva Creative Media, which is the services I do with Victor Rios, and the UK Latino scene, which is a support page for all the artists that I encounter within London that's Latino and they're making their own music.
Yeah. Do you have a YouTube page?
Same names. Same connected there. UK Latino Scene is the only YouTube page.
Okay.
That's got all the archives of everything I've done.
Cool. Go show him some love. Go show him some support. I'm going to link it all below. Thank you lot for showing love and support, and I'll see you lot next week.
Muchas gracias.